But let's talk basketball now, as LeBron James will reunite with Olympic teammates Kevin Durant and Steph Curry in a revamped NBA All-Star game set for the 15th of February in Los Angeles. The game features a new format with 3 teams, 2 composed of U.S. players and 1 international world team. Now, the squads will play a round-robin mini-tournament with the top 2 advancing to a final. James, Durant, and Curry leads the USA Stripes, joined by Jaylen Brown and Jalen Brunson, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell, and Norman Powell. USA stars includes Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards, and Chet Holmgren, while the world team is spearheaded by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Dončić, Victor Wembanyama, and Nikola Jokić, promising high-level international competition. We've got Femi Adefeso joining us to give us more insights into this conversation. Femi, great to have you with us, but to some it might look or sound exciting, but look, why are we going away from what we used to enjoy when it comes to the NBA All-Star weekend and the NBA All-Star game between the East and the West? Because it feels like it has become more like glamour, playing to the gallery of the fans, giving the fans what they're expecting this time around, not what we used to have back in the day.
Udoka, the NBA All-Star Weekend has actually been a product for the fans. It's what the NBA describes as an opportunity to give back to the fans who buy tickets every year, you know, and just make them have that fantasy league in reality, you know, in that sense. So unfortunately, in the last couple of years, the NBA All-Star Weekend has been below par. The ratings have dropped because the players are not giving in their all like they used to in the days of Kobe Bryant, you know, and the likes. You know, I want to use Kobe Bryant as the pinnacle of, you know, when, you know, the diminishing return started to set in for the All-Star Weekend. Players are not really giving that spectacle. You see the dunk contest, the three-point shootout. You know, so altogether, the NBA has just been looking for creative ways to ensure this thing gets more competitive, and also the fans can actually be wild and have a good time. If you recall, they tried what we call the pick 1, pick 2 style in Nigeria, where, you know, the player with the highest number of votes became captain and then they selected. That worked out a little bit for about 2-3 years, and then after which, you know, it didn't give the spectacle. So this time around, the big question has been that can the world catch up with the US in terms of basketball? And clearly, with the Olympics, with the World Cup, the answer is yes. And I think this is what the NBA is trying to do by creating this format to give fans an opportunity to see their NBA stars who are call them outside of the US against the American stars. Perhaps this will spark some light in how competitive it will be, because, I mean, bragging rights will be at stake for what, you know, all the bookmakers and, of course, the pundits locally are saying with that argument.
Right. You know, I was also thinking, yes, new format is always allowed, but shouldn't we go back to when we used to have the East-West? Then maybe, because if we want to entertain the fans, bring in another angle of it and say, call it a Showtime basketball, because we watch NBA games now and then. We've seen the whole season of the NBA games. We are used to this style of play. We get to see these highlights during these games as some of the players showcase their skills and all of that. Let's have a special package called the Showtime for, in quotes, the world stars, instead of having a proper five-a-side basketball tournament and you target an all-star game. Don't you think that would be far-fetched?
I don't think so. Udoka, I think before they got here, if you look at it, it's been falling rapidly in the last 6-7 All-Star weekends, right? And the NBA is looking at the product. And the real issue is the fact that the players are not playing competitively. So they are not giving in their best, and it's showing in, you know, what the fans are enjoying. So for the benefit of giving a sort of incentive or motivation to the players to become competitive. Now, maybe if, you know, Team USA becomes, you know, scared of the fact that if Team World beats us, man, everyone will start, you know, yabbing us that the best players in the world are no longer Americans. Maybe perhaps that will bring out the best and the need to win and not lose. So I think that's the real brainchild behind this innovation by the NBA, to see if this will spark the positive outcome. But what I like also about the NBA is the fact that they are willing to change. You know, they are listening to their fans, they are watching the ratings, and I think that's what makes the NBA, for me, the best sports property in the world. There's nothing cut in stone, right? We've enjoyed the East and West, and I'm sure if this doesn't work, we probably will revert back to it or try something new again until they find a new format. But the big problem is this, Udoka. These players think the All-Star weekend is an opportunity to get days off. It's like it's vacation. And so they are no longer putting in their all, like the way we used to see Shaq, Kobe, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, all those guys come out because they wanted to brag that they won in the Eastern Conference players are better than the West and cool. But these new age players don't care so much about who wins or who loses. In fact, a lot of them just want to go sit down and check their social media pages and trend and make money with their private brands.
Yeah, Femi, before you went on loan to the United States, you were, a very, very versatile basketball journalist in this country, well respected. And I want to start from home. They say charity begins from home. Just last week, BAL, Basketball African League, announced the next host, and that's Angola. And I think the first 3 editions were held in Rwanda. And now a lot of us are saying, when will Nigeria, at least the Tigers are doing us proud. They have won the AfroBasket 3 times in a row, 5 times overall. We should use that, to sustain the momentum. So do you think we can host BAL in the recent future, and when can that happen?
The last time I spoke to my agent, I think my deal is being reviewed. So we just watch out for the answer of the permanent deal. but speaking to what you said, I think it's a very big question. I won't lie to you. As much as, I'm here in the US enjoying, call it the best of basketball, my heart is still always thinking about, what can we do in Nigeria? How can we make things better? Because the talent, without question, is here. The market, without question, is here. The passion for the sports, the success, the history, everything behind this is in Nigeria. I've been opportunity to go to 2 finals in Rwanda for the Basketball Africa League, and it's just amazing to see. No disrespect to Rwanda, a small country like that, young country who have put themselves together, and they own the Basketball Africa League right from the presidency. Like, everybody is supporting it. It's a national event. Like, everybody is working towards making that a successful thing. And you can see why easily the BL want to work with them. And without blinking an eye, they always want to go back, because it's been supported by the Rwanda Tourism Board, the Ministry of Sports. They are using it as a tourist destination package. This marketing and sales is unbelievable. What Rwanda is doing in ensuring that the BAL becomes something on the calendar, even outside of Africa. They are promoting it in London, in Paris, in the US, just to get people to travel in, come in and experience it, even though the product is still growing steadily. I think for us in Nigeria, the issue is beyond the fact that we don't think building infrastructure and systems are as important. We have over the years, built our supremacy on just talent, grit, and like my friends will say, inshallah, it's all prayers, and these countries that are attracting, an event like the BAL, actually are building structures. They have infrastructure. We just watched the CAF, the AFCON in Morocco, and everybody had one thing to say: beautiful tournament. Let's leave the antics that happened, on the play. You look at the infrastructure, you're like, this is World Cup worthy hosting facilities right here on the continent.
Right.
You ask yourself one question here, which place in the whole of Nigeria can host a tournament like the BAL? Let's start from there. Where?
Abuja.
Lagos.
Abuja National Stadium.
Abuja cannot host it. It's not good. Have you watched BAL games?
Yes, I have.
And you look at the Abuja National Stadium. Ask yourself, compare and contrast. It's like a warm-up center, than a place befitting to host a game. And that's where the challenge is. I think we are also not looking at people who are willing to invest long term.
Yeah.
Right.
Because those infrastructures cost millions of dollars. And if you don't build infrastructure, you cannot attract those kinds of people. Interestingly, the BAL is on the last leg of this experimental phase. We are hearing that now they're open to franchises, and people will begin to acquire teams just like the way the NBA is being built. And I'm thinking, will Nigeria own a team? Will there be a team from Nigeria? And if perhaps some billionaires in Nigeria decide to wake up to bid for a team, we definitely will not keep them in Nigeria for sure, because it's the facility to host games, So those are the real issues really that we should be dealing with. Yes, it's good on the paper. The data guess they are winning. Guess what? All those girls were born and bred and buttered in America. They play, they go back. The league is done. So those are the real fundamental issues, Luka and Oyewuchi.
All right, just off the camera, we're talking about infrastructure before we started the game, and it's good that you also brought this up because these are things that we'll get to talk about in the second half of the show. I'd say thank you very much, Femi, for joining us. There's a lot to talk about in the NBA, but of course, for time, would have to let you go. Thank you very much for joining. Always a beautiful time having you discuss basketball with us. Thank you for joining.